What is your American dream?
I come from Myanmar. The American dream to me is to be able to start my own business one day.
I am from Texas. My family is from Guatemala. My American dream is pursuing happiness while also having stability.
I'm from Connecticut. My American dream is to fight for justice and to scream for the voiceless.
I'm from the former Soviet Union, which is now known as Russia. The American dream to me, despite being an immigrant, means to give the opportunities and dreams to my children the same way that my family gave to me.
I'm from China. My American dream is to be a fashion designer in New York because I love fashion so much.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Oh, hello everybody! Happy Friday! In case you missed yesterday's episode of Brad Show Live, we showed the final portion of deported veteran Miguel Perez's interview with Brad. We hope that we helped to raise awareness of his story. And Miguel, come home soon. We all want you to come back to the United States. Also, Brad Show Live won the sharing competition against Spar Bernstein's page. And so Jonathan explained to Belgium Kim and all the Brad Show Live viewers about his tattoos. I was so inspired by Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias that I decided to go out and get a tattoo. So I took a shot of liquid courage, bottoms up, and then I went out and I got a tattoo. Okay, you remember to shave my rump first, right? And be kind to me. Make sure it's even. Make sure it's even. Don't mess this up. Oh, God!
Hold still.
I am happy to now reveal Groundhog Sam's first tattoo ever. Dun, 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 dun. I got a groundhog stamp of Brad's face, my favorite person on the planet. I can't wait to show it off to all my friends. But you guys got the first look because you are Brad Show Live Squad and you mean everything to me. Enjoy the show and have a great weekend, Brad Show Live Squad. See you Monday.
All right, welcome everybody. It's Brad Show Live on Friday, last day of the week. Welcome Belgium Kim, and we have to welcome Nicole Abruzzo, one of our fantastic immigration lawyers. She's filling in for Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, but she's going to fill in a lot better because she could actually answer the immigration questions,
Right.
not just sit there and look handsome and or pretty and ask the questions like some of us, right?
Those
Belgium.
are our sidekick jobs,
Those are the
and we
sidekick
take them
jobs.
very seriously,
yes.
Brad.
So welcome Nicole. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm great.
Rough
How are
week
you?
this week? Or no?
It flew by.
Really? Well, it was only 4 days. It was only 4 days. By the way, we have to say hello not only to all of to the both of you, but we got to say hello to everybody who watches us every day, called the Brad Squad. They welcome us into their home every evening, or they actually welcome us onto their cell phone wherever they happen to be. And usually we start with Brad Show Live because they usually win the sharing contest. But yesterday, in a surprise role reversal, for the first time in my memory, Law Offices of Spar and Bernstein page beat Brad Show Live page in the sharing contest. That means on Monday when Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias comes back, he will be filming me, because I promised I would dance.
Yep.
Right? He would be filming
With tassels.
with tassels.
With
He
tassels.
told me I had to have a tassel on.
Yeah.
I will be dancing.
When
As
did you
a
get full
reward,
two tassels?
as a reward to the Law Offices of Spar and Bernstein Facebook page, at the end of the show on Monday, we will shut the feed off on Brad Show Live. We'll see how many people come over to Spar and Bernstein to watch me dance with. I don't know how that's going to happen. I'm not sure how that. I gotta,
better start stretching.
I gotta stretch.
Better
But
start stretching.
meanwhile, Lisa Bling Rose, hello. So we're gonna start with Law Offices of Spar and Bernstein,
Yeah,
saying
they
hello
get first today.
to Spar and Bernstein people today.
Absolutely.
Brad Squad. Hello, Lisa Bling Rose, Willie Williams. By the way, Lisa Bling Rose is maybe featured in one of our segments. That she doesn't even realize that, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about that in the production room, right? Yeah. We were brainstorming. What rhymes with Lisa Bling Rose, right?
Yeah, and your very first. Can I give your very first one away?
I forgot what I said.
Your very first one was Lisa Bling Toes.
Oh, Lisa Bling Toes. That's right.
Just things that rhyme with Lisa Bling Rose.
I said a lot of things rhyme there. All right. Willie Williams. This is what we do here on a Friday at Spar Bernstein.
Nicole, you caught us on a funny day.
On a funny day, yes. Willie Williams, hello. Lynn Brown says howdy. I guess he's down south or out west somewhere.
Woo-woo.
Ifa Awana, Christy Consali, Susan Shaw. Lynn Brown, she says she's blessed today. Willie Williams says he's just okay. Jenny Goldberg, how you doing? Beverly Thompson, how are you? These are all people, Nicole, who watch every day. Rob J. Roberts says that's fellow Sam. He is hilarious. If in fact he's a fellow. We don't know.
Love Groundhog Sam more than they love us.
But let me explain, Rob J. Sam is androgynous.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's a fellow.
No.
We don't know.
We haven't picked.
He hasn't picked yet. You can go both ways right now. We don't know if he's a man or a woman yet. Lynn Brown, how are you? And Audrey Stevenson. And that's it so far, saying hello on Spar and Bernstein. On the Bradshaw Live page, Wendy Brown, Tamika Nelson, Kerry Ann Wallace is in the house. Kanisha Theowell. Is it in the house or in the studio? Or maybe she's out on the street.
They're in the Bradshaw house.
She's in the Bradshaw house, but I don't know if she's in her particular house.
Oh.
We don't know where she is.
That's true. But she's
Marsha
definitely in the
Whitaker.
studio.
But I guess when you say she's in the house, that means she's here.
Yeah,
she's part of us.
The digital house
that we have built, right. Dionne Watson, Cordella Willery, Patrona Collins, Marsha Whitaker, let's see, Carol Anderson, the Tiger, says, she doesn't even ask, nobody asks about us anymore. It's just Sam now. Says, hi Sam, honey, how are you?
He has sweet talked them.
You've basically been sweet talked by a puppet. All right, I just want to make it clear.
Brad, you're sounding jealous when you.
I
say
am
things
a little
like
jealous of a puppet now. I think
very
yes.
Jealous.
Kamisha Theowell, Wendy Brown, Yvonne Steele.
Patrona says that Bradshaw Live got beat yesterday because she was absent. You shouldn't be absent, Patrona.
All right, well maybe today there'll be a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to ask people to share today. We don't have a contest, but we'll have another one next week.
That's true. We're just going to very
just
kindly
ask you to share anyway. Yeah. Okay? You know what? But if we don't give them a contest, watch it, all the shares will be very, very low. Do you want to have a psychological study today?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
All right, call Dr. Freud.
He may not.
He's dead.
Be with
All
us.
right, call Dr. Shapiro. I think there's a psychologist, Dr. Shapiro.
Okay.
Dr. Schwartz.
Sure. Are you just naming?
I'm just
names
using
of
names.
people
Dr.
that
Jones. I don't know. I have no idea.
Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith.
You're just putting doctor in front of
call
last names
somebody.
right now.
We're gonna have a psychological experiment today. If we don't make it a competition, okay? So it doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter who wins. And we just ask people to share. Now, I want you to know, even though it doesn't matter who wins, you definitely don't want to come in last place, right?
Well, you just made it a competition.
I didn't make it a competition. I'm just saying you don't want to come in last place.
Have you guys seen Ricky Bobby?
Ricky Bobby?
Ricky Bobby, like Talladega Nights.
Oh, that's
with Will Ferrell.
I know the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Right? Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
All right. If you ain't first, you're last. Remember that.
Says.
All right. And who else we have to say hello to here? There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Kerry Ann Wallace, Barbara Lord says hi. Brad, Kim. It's not Jenny today, Barbara.
No, we got Nicole.
We have Nicole. It's Nicole. It's Nicole Hemrick.
A different Friday attorney.
A different Friday attorney, right? We had Jenny for a couple of weeks, so I think people got used to Jenny.
That's true.
But it is Nicole. We have like 22 attorneys here.
We
at
do.
Spar Bernstein, right? We're not small potatoes.
It's a stacked house.
It's a stacked house, even though it's not a stacked office.
No, it's not.
Still the house.
It doesn't sound as good.
Still the house.
In the house.
Yes.
Not
all right. And Jella Shorna says, hey, Brad and Kim. And Ma Dukes says, hi, Wendy. Oh, we have to add Ma Dukes to our thing. That could be funny, too. Just people with funny names.
You're giving away half the name. It's not going to be funny by the time.
Yeah, it won't be funny anymore. All right. And Venice Blake says hello. Jella Shorna says hello. Tanetso Bless Robinson says hello. And Asset Lindo says good evening to everybody.
Barbara Lord said that she knows Sam's a fellow because she's falling for him.
Oh my God.
So that's a thing.
She's falling for a rodent.
Right, like
All
a
right.
man or woman, he's still a groundhog.
Right, wow.
So,
You know what that is? They call that being a sapiosexual. You ever hear that term? That you fall in love with somebody's personality, not their...
Oh, yeah.
You fall in love with their intelligence and their personality. It doesn't matter what they look like.
Sapiosexual, because that's
Yes.
very sappy.
I don't know.
Is that
I don't know. I don't know if you're asking me for the etymology
I am asking you for
of
the
where it
etymology.
came from, I don't know.
Don't be
but
throwing out words you don't know the etymology
I don't know
to,
the
Brad.
etymology of it. I'm sorry. Yvonne Steele. Jeff Posey's watching, but he has yet to say a word. And this, he does say a word. He says, "Hey, family, one and all." Very cool, Jeff Posey.
You know,
Coming in with the cool line there,
he's
right?
a cool guy.
Cool guy.
Nicole, Jeff Posey is our resident
comedian. He's the comedian in the Bradshaw Live feed. Yvonne Steele says, "Hi, Jeff number 1." Jeff number 2, he's disappeared. Jeff number 2.
I think he got offended by the fact that we kept calling him Jeff number 2.
I guess yes. I guess you know if you're not number 1, you're at last. I guess he pulled out Ricky Bobby on us.
You should have joined earlier.
Yes, and Kamisha Theowell checking in from Jamaica, or at least certainly representing Jamaica with the flag there in her comments.
Listen.
And anybody else here that I didn't say hello to? Monica Stone. We can go. By the way, we can spend an hour and a half saying hello to everybody who says hello to us, and we go absolutely nowhere.
And just saying the same names over and
no,
over.
But no, we're not saying the same names. These are all new people. These are all new people. So we could go on and on, but we got to get moving on our show because it's almost 6 o'clock, and we got to start answering. At 6 o'clock, we're going to be answering your immigration questions. But so what I'd like everyone to do right now is we only have one person on the line right now from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Woo.
From Salt Lake City, Utah, home of the Church of Latter-day Saints. Right?
Yes.
Isn't that where the main church is, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is. And David, I don't know if he goes to that church or not, but he's certainly calling from Salt Lake City, Utah. We're going to get to David in about 10 minutes or so. But if you call right now at 1-800-529-5465, Fiona has said that our lines are wide open. We have 11 people who we can take calls still from. And if you call right now, you will get in the queue. 1-800-529-5465. David, hang in there. We're going to get to you in about 10 or 12 minutes from now. I'd also ask if everybody can please share, even though we're not having a game. There's no winner, but there's definitely going to be a loser. Okay, there's definitely a loser here. You don't want to be the loser, but we're not going to have a winner tonight. All right?
You get nothing except shame.
You get shamed for losing, but you don't get anything for winning. Now, on Monday, we'll come up with a new game, a new sharing game on Monday. Okay?
Yeah, because we can't keep
dancing
for people.
Can't keep dancing for people. So
Or
we didn't really come up with a good, so yesterday I said if Bradshaw Live wins, then Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias would dance. And they won. And he did a dance for them. And I wonder do we have a tape of the dance from Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias we can show everybody now? Yeah, let's see if we can. I want to show Nicole. Did you see Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias dance?
I did not see the dance.
Because a lot of people, because we played it after.
We did.
We played it after the credits. So I told people, stay past the credits. It's the extra bonus material. And a lot of people didn't stay. Mm-hmm. All right? So for those who didn't stay, we have it, Jilly? Okay, let's watch Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias dance.
I'll dance with you.
Yeah, dance with me. All right. Hey. Oh.
Oh, yeah, girl, Sam. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it.
Hey, that's it.
That's enough.
So that was Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias dancing for the Bradshaw Live people. I will be doing that on Monday. And we have to come up, we were going to have Nicole do something, but then I said I can't surprise her, right? She'd freak out. She'd be like, Brad, I would love to do, that little bit that you asked them to do now that Spar Bernstein won, but I resign. I think that's what I would have got a resignation letter from her.
I was just about to say, that'd be really mean. We kind of sign up for this. The attorneys don't sign up for it at all.
Like, I don't know. I applied to be a lawyer here. Now I'm dancing. And I'm doing a TV show. What's going on here?
I just want to answer people's immigration questions.
Yeah, I don't remember that in the ad that I responded to an advertisement. I don't remember. I don't remember that in the ad. You know, dancing for people.
Worst Craigslist job posting of all time.
All right. So meanwhile, let's talk about what's going on in the news, Nicole. Maybe you have some thoughts about this. It came out. The National Foundation for American Policy came out recently. And despite what Donald Trump says, you know, we call him the orange guy in the White House. Now, we may have to stop calling him, by the way, orange guy in the White House. I was thinking about this, you know, since Roseanne, you know, had her incident.
Right. Incident.
Her incident,
yeah.
which was a racist joke.
Yes.
That went really awry. A lot of people would say it wasn't even a joke. It was her being serious.
Absolutely.
We don't know. But this, whether it was or wasn't, it was certainly racist, tasteless, and really showed what type of woman she was. Now, Donald Trump he didn't respond in 24 hours to this. Right? Said nothing in 24 hours. And then 24 hours later, he came out with some tweet that said, and we talked about this yesterday, some tweet that said, well, then ABC should apologize to me for all the terrible things they said about me.
Right.
And then later on, I don't even know who this woman is. I never actually heard of her until she now has become famous, I guess. I don't know how many people watched her show.
Samantha Bee.
Samantha Bee. I mean, did anybody ever watch her show before this? She called Ivanka Trump a feckless, I don't want to say the word, woman's body part.
So you can just
C
say
word.
the C word.
Everybody knows what the C word is?
I would say everyone
Cantaloupe.
knows.
Right, a feckless cantaloupe. All right, that's the G-rated version of what. And Donald Trump came out and he said, well, you know, why is this Samantha Bee not being fired?
Right.
Now, I would say that they were both tasteless. Both should not have been said. But the difference is Roseanne said something that was racist, and Samantha Bee said something that was just tasteless. That is the difference.
And
racism
also,
versus tastelessness.
She's a comedian that does political, like, she comments on political and social issues. That's what she does. Versus Roseanne is a TV personality. I think that's different.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Definitely.
So if we had to make a distinction, I think that is a very strong distinction there. Now, and I think you agreed with me because you just snapped at me, right? You were like very intuitive there, Mr. Bernstein.
Well, I was just having this conversation earlier. That is exactly the difference. It is the difference between saying something that somebody may not agree with versus something that legitimately dehumanizes another person.
Now Samantha Bee is not a very good oral arguer, I would say. Maybe I shouldn't have used the word oral in this, but an oral arguer.
Yeah.
Because when if you're just going to call somebody a name, you're not really winning points anywhere. You know, really what she should have said is if she said, you know, Ivanka, you're posting pictures of you and your baby having a great time out on Sunday, because I think that's what she was talking about. There was an Instagram feed where Ivanka had, you know, pictures with her baby, and she was saying how wonderful it is to spend time with my baby. And she was really commenting on the immigration situation that's happening at the border, which we also talked about yesterday, where at last count in last month, I don't know what the count is for May, but in April, we're now in June, so maybe the count will come out, but in April, 657 children were separated from their parents at the border. So they didn't have that opportunity to spend a Sunday afternoon with them.
Yep.
So I think that's really what the commentary was. And then when you just call somebody a feckless cantaloupe, it really kind of doesn't legitimize really the seriousness of what's going on. So, you know, I think it was a stupid comment by her.
Yeah.
It was tasteless, but it wasn't racist.
Agreed.
Okay, now, why I come back to, because we were talking about the National Foundation for American Policy.
Yeah.
Okay, and 44 immigrants in 2016 had started companies in the United States,
and they are now worth over $500 million. As well as they said 43% of the Fortune 500 companies in the United States of America were either started by immigrants or children of immigrants. So almost 4 out of 10 of the biggest 500 companies in America, okay, or 200 of the 500 biggest companies in America were started by immigrants or children of immigrants.
216, I think.
216 of them. So to say that immigration is doing something that is bad for America is really not true.
Yeah.
So now, I was going to go in about, how important it is for immigration, and I started just saying the orange guy in the White House. And then I stopped, and I said, maybe I'm doing the same thing that Roseanne and Samantha Bee, I forgot her name, Samantha Bee's doing. So maybe I should apologize to all the well-tanned people out there. There are a lot of well-tanned people out there. Like, I've been calling this guy the orange guy for a very long time, and maybe I have been racist against very well-tanned people.
George Hamilton's feelings.
George Hamilton. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people whose feelings could have been hurt by me saying that every well-tanned person is as feckless as Mr. Trump. So for all of the well-tanned people out there, I think we should retire Orange Man, because maybe that's a racist comment against tanning salons
Tanning
and
is
tanned
not a
people.
race.
I don't know. I'm just, in this day and age, I'm expecting a tweet any day now from tanned people.
The coalition
of tanning people. Like the American Chamber of Tanning Salons. Coppertone is going to come and start. Coppertone is going to start boycotting the show. Who knows?
Up in arms, Brad.
Yes.
The pitchforks
So I
are
think,
out.
and we've been calling Trump Orange Man for a year now.
Yeah.
But maybe we shouldn't be calling him Orange Man anymore.
You called him orangutan for a hot minute.
Well,
you called him a Cheeto for a little bit.
I called him a Cheeto.
You called him a Cheeto.
I said he was an orangutan because we put a picture of an orangutan next to him, and they had similar hair. They had similar hair and similar lips.
Yeah, because he was doing his whole you're fired.
Now that could be racist if I honestly, if I put that against somebody other than Trump, you would say that's racist.
That's fair.
Right? That's a fair thing to say.
But again, context matters.
Context does matter.
There's
He's the president of the United States, and he himself is a racist.
Yes.
So he sets himself up for this commentary that comes back, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
So maybe then all the well-tanned people out there shouldn't be offended, and we could still call him a pumpkin. Except maybe the farmers and the Halloween and all of Halloween will boycott us. The entire holiday of Halloween, if we call him a pumpkin. I mean, I don't know what to call the guy anymore.
Also, not an association. I don't think the Halloween Association is
I just think the whole holiday of Halloween may boycott us. So I don't know. We gotta talk about this, right? We gotta talk about this more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, is it right to call him Orange Man, or should we just call him President Trump?
I think I want to know what the Brat Squad thinks. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Should we stop calling him the Orange Man? Is it insensitive to orange people
everywhere? There are orange people there who are well tanned.
The Jergens self-tan users of the world.
Yes, I don't know.
It's terrible.
Coppertone, I'm getting a letter from them right now.
No, I feel like Coppertone would then sponsor you because they don't want orange. Like their whole thing is stay as pasty white as humanly possible.
No, Coppertone gives you the oil as well, the 8 and the 6.
They do.
They want
That's
you
true.
orange.
That's
They want
true.
you orange.
They just want you in the sun. However you'll.
They want you orange because then they want to sell you the after tan.
Yeah, it does seal it in real nice though.
Yes, right. Because if you didn't get the tan, then they're only selling one bottle. But if you get a tan, then their goal is to make you orange.
Is that why you're still so bronzed 6 weeks after your vacation?
Yes, I know how to keep the tan.
You sealed it in.
Yes, maybe I'm a self-hater by calling him an Orange Man. I'm self-hating myself because I'm not orange. I'm just a little tan still.
Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock already. We didn't even get too far
here. Went off the rails.
Oh yeah, some of the. Jill is putting me back. Thank you for putting us back on track.
Yes.
So Jill has
said, why don't we talk about some of the companies that immigrants have
There
created?
it is.
Boy, try to ruin a good time there, Jill. Thank you very much. All right, so some of the biggest companies founded by immigrants include SpaceX,
Hence the rocket in the background that now
which
makes
was
more sense.
right, Elon Musk from South Africa, WeWork, Adam Newman from Israel, and Uber, which is Garrett Camp from Canada.
I didn't realize that the Uber guy was Canadian.
I didn't realize either.
I did not.
But I thought Travis somebody was
Kalanick.
Kalanick was the founder of Uber.
They're co-founders.
Oh, co-founders.
Travis Kalanick is just the bad boy loudmouth that
Well, I
everybody
know
knows.
Intel, the computer chip company, was founded by an immigrant.
Yep.
Google, founded by 2 immigrants.
Yep. But they would not be then on the
I'm just
once
using this to
founded.
fan myself now.
Are you Scarlett O'Hara?
Yes. Bye, George. Bye, George.
You will
It's one of those
save
crazy
Tara.
days, yeah.
But anyway, this is a very good point. I mean, a lot of people focus on, I mean, there's so much controversy as to whether immigrants are stealing American jobs, but what about all the immigrants that are contributing so much to society and are actually job creators?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I personally disagree that immigrants are stealing any jobs, but if you're going to even make that argument, you can't stop there. You need to talk about these people who are contributing so much to society and, you know, the financial status of our country.
Yeah. They're doing jobs that most Americans can't or won't do that can't be filled. It's so much easier to hire an American than it is to hire an immigrant. So of course, you know, especially somebody who needs to get sponsored and everything else. Now, I did have a conversation with Paul Hirsch today. In the newspaper, there was a big article. You know, talk about the hypocrisy of all of this. Okay. In the New York Post, I think it was, there was a big article today about how an illegal immigrant who was ordered deported, he never left the United States, was drunk driving in Texas, and he ran over an American and killed her. And everybody in Texas is now up in arms that this illegal immigrant who was ordered deported and never left, and it's a sad story, and yes, he should have been deported and everything else. And I said to Paul, I said, you know, you hear these stories, you know, and even, you know, Donald Trump in his State of the Union, he brought 2 or 3 people who are victims of, you know, crimes perpetrated by immigrants. So yes, there's immigrants who commit crimes, absolutely. What you don't hear, however, is all of the crimes committed by Americans against immigrants. Now, I can tell you for a fact that there has to be close to at least 100,000 crimes. And I'm going to tell you why I know this fact. There's got to be close to at least 100 crimes, and we're not talking about petty crimes. We're talking about serious felony crimes perpetrated by Americans against immigrants, and not just green card holders. We're talking about people who have no status in America, illegal immigrants. There are over 100,000 serious felonies committed by Americans against illegal immigrants. You never see those statistics. You want to know why I know those statistics? Because those are the pending U visa applications right now that have been filed by illegal aliens, people, I don't like to use the word illegal, undocumented aliens, people who have no visa status, no legal status, who were the victims of serious crimes perpetrated against them by U.S. citizens.
Right.
But you don't see those. We could fill up a newspaper with 50 to 100 of those crimes every day. You know what also we don't hear about? The Border Patrol agent who shot the unarmed 20-year-old Guatemalan in the back, and the photos showed that her brains were on the ground. So not only shot her in the back, shot her in the head, running away in the back.
Right.
That's what the photo shows.
Right.
And Border Patrol said she was rushing him. Why would anybody rush a Border Patrol agent? If anybody here who is an immigrant or out of status or minority, they know you don't rush a Border Patrol agent, you run the hell away from a Border Patrol agent.
And how could he shoot her in the back of the head if she
she's
was
rushing
running towards him?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right, and you know how many articles I saw about that? Maybe 2 or 3 small articles.
Yep.
So, I don't know what all of this means. I can take guesses.
I can take guesses. You know, people can say, well, you know, an American life or a white life is more important than a non-American life or a non-white life. Certainly, it sells more newspapers.
Right.
And it certainly adds to the hysteria over immigration, which is what some people want to see happen. I can go on and on, but this is not the Brad show. What did we say we're going to do? I just went blank now. The Brad
Show podcast.
Podcast, correct.
There it is. There's your very first podcast.
That was my very
episode
first
right there.
podcast. Right. We were going to do a Brad Show podcast, and I said, I don't have time for podcasts. They're like, no, do the podcast.
Yeah. We should do a podcast.
Maybe we will one day.
Yeah.
There's so much more to talk about here, Nicole. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Are you having fun so far?
I am, and I have very strong opinions about this. But
What? Talk about it.
Well, I mean, I think as to what you were just saying, making that point about how there's so much dialogue in the media about wrongs that immigrants have done towards U.S. citizens versus the other way around, whereas there's a lot of evidence that immigrants have had substantial harms by U.S. citizens. I think that goes to the fact that while Trump is always saying, oh, you know, fake news media, and trying to make a point that there's information out there that is untrue about him and his administration, it actually seems to me that he is controlling the dialogue, because the dialogue he wants is that immigrants are detrimental to this country.
Oh, he absolutely controls the dialogue. You know, I don't want to compare him to Adolf Hitler.
But
Because he's not, as far as I know so far, has any concentration camps anywhere. Okay? But I will tell you what Adolf Hitler did that was very smart. If you're going to tell a lie, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. The smaller the lie, less people will believe it. And I can tell you that Donald Trump is telling huge lies. And it is a psychologically and politically tested that the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it.
Yep.
And I'll give you a perfect example, and we got to get, we had immigration calls and everybody hung up because we're past our time.
Because we told them 6 p.m.
We told them
and
6
it's
p.m. and it's 6:07 already. All right, we're going to get to your immigration calls, I promise you, but I'm interested in this conversation.
Yes.
I will tell you, here's a big lie, okay? Puerto Rico, all right?
Yes.
Puerto Rico, there was a hurricane that hit Puerto Rico. Donald Trump says he did a wonderful job. He claims, Donald Trump, what is the number? A total of 64 people died in the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico. And by the way, a lot of places don't have drinking water or electricity 1 year later.
Correct.
And we're re-entering hurricane season. Now that number seemed really odd to the people in Puerto Rico because they said, how did only 64 people die? I know people knew more than 64 people who died.
Right.
And they felt it was a substantial underestimate. People thought maybe 1,000 or maybe even 500 or 800, but not 64 people. So Harvard, and I guess you would want to, if you can, when you can't trust Harvard scientists, at what point who can you trust? So a team of scientists at the Harvard Public School of Health, okay, they set off to attempt to figure out and count the number of people who died in Puerto Rico during the Hurricane Maria in September. After going door to door, they literally canvassed door to door, knocked on doors, and did a statistical analysis. They said at a minimum, and they believe the number's higher, but they are 100% certain that at a minimum, 4,645 people died in Puerto Rico as a result of Hurricane Maria. The news never reported 4,000. CNN didn't report it. MSNBC didn't report it. Nobody reported this. 4,645 deaths. Donald Trump is saying, I don't even need to go to Puerto Rico. A couple people died. That was it. So, you know, talking about the bigger the lie.
Controlling, yeah.
Okay. So now, if this is the case, and we believe this to be the case, it is the biggest natural disaster in modern history, and nobody's saying a word to Donald Trump about it.
Well, and the reason is that because it was handled so horrendously that it wouldn't just be like that would be a huge stain on his administration, knowing that because the 64 deaths are people who died of direct hurricane-related deaths, like they got hit by flying debris or drowned or something. That means that the other more than 5,000 people would have died out of negligence, basically, out of pure negligence from not sending any aid to Puerto Rico.
Nicole?
I agree, and it's sickening.
All right. Well, we got to get to some good news.
Yes, please.
We got to get to some good news, okay?
You have the one I want.
All
Me
right.
too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's get to some good news before we take immigration calls. In Tampa Airport.
Yay! Yes.
Okay. there were
at Tampa
8
Airport.
unexpected arrivals at the terminal at Tampa Airport the other day on Friday afternoon. One of the passengers on a plane by the name of Ellie, which was short for the real name is Eleanor Rigby. That's the name of the passenger.
Right.
Gave birth to 8 Labrador retrievers. She was a service dog helping a passenger who required a service animal to go on a plane, and Eleanor Rigby was pregnant and in the terminal started giving birth to 8 puppies in the terminal. All the passengers in the terminal came to help out, and 8 new dogs, 7 males, 1 female. Even the Tampa Fire Department came to help birth. Do we have pictures of it?
Yeah, right
there. There it is.
Yeah.
There's only that one picture. That's it.
No,
That's all we
there's a
got?
few more.
There's a few more?
There's those 3. And the cutest part about this is that the dad was also there.
The daddy dog?
Yeah, the daddy dog. Like you kind
How's
of
the daddy
see
dog
him
there?
because they're both their emotional support animals.
For both the same person?
No, different people.
But
two
they were
people.
there traveling together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice.
And so like
That's very
Dad,
nice.
Yeah, look at that. Dad is just like kind
And
of
was dad
by.
in there standing around, like looking around, like
He
not
looks so concerned.
yeah, like any other father who gives birth, kind of standing around looking dumb and not knowing what to do, right?
what
I
have I
mean,
done with my
whether
life?
it's a dog or a human, and all the fathers are acting the same.
Oh man, it was. So
All right,
good.
so now we're gonna get to a part. We're running late already, and we got to get to a part that we called you. What do we call this again?
Getting
your answers to your immigration questions. Getting your answers to your immigration questions. That's what we call it. All right, so Nicole, you're going to help me out here, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, we have a whole bunch of people on hold right now. So if you call right now, we will be answering your questions. 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Call now. Maybe we have a guy we have a little graphic where it's me holding a sign to call on the body of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Because originally they had like a little short fat guy coming out holding a stick, and I didn't like it. So they said, "Who do you want to be?" And I said, "Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson." Why wouldn't you want to be? So let's see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson come out right now with her sign. I want to show Nicole. Where is he? There he is, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with my head. Ask me your immigration questions. 1-800-529-5465.
Were you fooled, Nicole? Did you know?
Right. Monique from Baltimore, Nicole. If we can get me and Nicole on together, that would be great. Monique.
Hello, hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. So I want to ask a question. Although I asked my lawyer already, but I think you're the best, so still want to hear from you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so all right. So I'm here on a visiting visa. I have a job that I do on at the table. I work with a Jewish family. Very nice people, them.
Time out 1 second. Time out 1 second. You just told the entire world you're misrepresenting why you're here and committing a fraud. You got to be careful what you're asking.
Okay.
All right, but
So,
continue.
can
Just
I
be
still go
careful
ahead
because
with
you're not
my
allowed to.
visa?
You're not allowed to work on a visitor's visa. So you violated your visa status.
No, my visa is already overstayed. I'm here since
I see. Okay, so you've
since
overstayed your visa.
2015.
Never
Yeah,
mind. My mistake.
yeah.
Then continue.
And I'm married and my paperwork is in.
Wonderful. All right,
But I
all
haven't
good.
got
I take it
nothing
all
yet.
back, Nicole. You see, Nicole, here's answer questions 101 on Bradshaw Live. Let the person finish their question before you jump down their throat. Remember that, okay?
It's okay.
All right,
It's
Monique,
okay.
you're all good now.
Okay.
All right, so what's going
So
on?
my boss, she has a daycare in the same house where I work. So like every year, the state come and do fingerprint like everyone that live in the house and require them to do a physical to make sure like the kids are not posed to threat. So my question is that would that be a problem if I take the fingerprint?
No, because the fact that you're working out of status and you're married to a U.S. citizen and filing your adjustment of status application is not a reason to deny your green card. So absolutely, it's not a problem.
Okay, so I could just go ahead and
do it.
It won't be a problem.
No problem.
All right, thank you very much.
You have no problem. Sleep well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right,
Bye.
thank you. All right, we're going to speak to Kim now, but I'm going to have Nicole answer this question.
Sure.
Kim.
Hi, Kim. Kim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you this evening?
I'm good, thanks.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us your question?
So, my question is, if I enter into the state illegally, but I got my green card, would it be a problem when I apply for my citizenship?
So I think we're going to need you to clarify. How did you get your green card? Did you have somebody who had filed for you prior to April 30th, 2001? Or did you come in using somebody else's visa and you had a waiver?
Or illegally,
No.
it just may have been she got smuggled across the border.
Yeah.
You jumped off a plane over Nebraska with a parachute.
Possible,
Swag for
possible.
it.
But
You
anyhow, I
swag
got
for it.
married and
All right, so
got.
the answer is this, because Nicole is treading lightly, but the answer is this. As long as you didn't commit any fraud in the green card application and you admitted how you came here and they know how you came here, there's not a problem. If somehow, and you don't have to say, I'm just giving you the answer, I don't want you to say anything, because what you say is not privileged on this show, because it's only a privileged conversation when you're talking to an attorney in a soundproof, not a soundproof, but in a private room. Okay, if a third person who's not an attorney hears, then it's not privileged. But the answer is this. The answer is if you didn't lie, it's not a problem. Not in terms of coming into America, but in terms of how you got your green card. They asked you, how'd you come here? I came here illegally. I jumped off a plane in Nebraska. So I got smuggled in the trunk of a car coming across Canada. Whatever you did, I came on somebody else's visa, and then you did a waiver and got approved. Whatever you did, as long as you were truthful in the green card application, it's not a problem for citizenship. If you were anything less than 100% truthful, then what I would suggest you do is hold on and make an appointment to come see us and let's talk about it, okay? How's that?
Perfect.
Perfect, right? Damus in Long Island, New York. Damus.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm calling to find out the processing time for the petition to remove the conditions on residents for the I-751. I'm seeing where it says 13 to 17 months.
Yeah, so that's pretty accurate. It does take about a year and a half, and actually, just recently, USCIS started posting even longer processing times on a lot of the cases, but we're still seeing about a year and a half if it's a joint petition. If it's a petition where you're filing because it was a good faith marriage but terminated in divorce or based on abuse or extreme cruelty, then it tends to take a bit longer.
So you normally get a extension letter. So what?
Right. So once that 1 year extension is up, you can take that letter together with your passport and your conditional green card into USCIS. You should try to make an InfoPass appointment first, and then you can go in and ask for an I-551 stamp, and they will put that stamp in your passport, and it is just like a green card for another year. And you could keep getting that until the I-751 is finally adjudicated.
All right, so let's go to David in Salt Lake City, Utah. David.
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Hi, and say hello to Nicole as well.
Hi, David.
Hi, Nicole. How are you? I have a question. I came to this country in 2001 with a C1D visa.
A C1 as in cat?
Yeah.
So you were a seaman. You worked on a boat, or you were going to go work on a boat.
Right. And so my mom became a permanent resident in 2009, and we filed the I-130 petition in 2015, and that petition was approved. So I was wondering how long it's going to take for that to be processed, and then, do I need to do anything else for that to be approved, or shouldn't be any problem for that to be resolved?
So for your mother's petition on your behalf, you just have to prove that she actually is a permanent resident and that you actually are her son, and then that should be approved. But you're going to need to do something after that. And by the way, the processing time for a permanent resident parent filing for an unmarried son or daughter over 21 is 7 to 8 years. It changes periodically. But because, first of all, I presume you're out of status at this point, and aside from that,
right.
you entered on a crewman's visa, you're going to have to actually pick up your immigrant visa abroad. So once your time actually comes up, you're going to start your mother's going to start receiving notifications from the National Visa Center for you to process your immigrant visa in your home country. And you're going to have to do something called a provisional waiver. It's a form I-601A to demonstrate that your mother would suffer extreme hardship if you were unable to obtain an immigrant visa.
Okay.
I concur. Excellent job. Basically, you're going to file an I-130, a provisional waiver, go home, come back.
Right. That's the.
All right, and we can certainly help you. So hold on 1 second, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's go to Susan in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Susan.
Hi, good
Hey, how are you?
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm good.
What's going on?
Okay, so I'm calling. Me and my husband, we got married a year ago. All our paperwork is in. I did not change my last name at the time before sending the paperwork in, and I was wondering, will it affect anything in the process if I go change my last name now?
No, it's a modern world. You can take your existing name, you can change it to your married name, whatever you'd like.
Okay, and it won't affect the process for his immigration. Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you.
That was easy. Easiest call of the day so far. Let's go to Joyce in Brooklyn, New York. Joyce.
Hello.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi, how are you guys?
How are you?
I'm fine. My question is, my daughter had her green card in 1996, okay? And every time it expires, she keeps renewing it. So eventually she decided to do her citizenship. And she fill out all the applications, she send it in, it's approved. They send her a letter to do the fingerprint, she did it. But her green card come and expire last month, and when she called, they tell her she has to renew the green card before she before the citizenship.
Who says she has to renew it?
Who did she?
Why are all our calls dropping?
Who did she call?
Our calls are all dropping today.
Well, we didn't get the answer to the rest of the question, but just to sum this up, it's actually not accurate that you require your green card, the actual card, to still be valid in order to process your naturalization application. The card itself has a validity period, but just because it expires doesn't mean that you're no longer a green card holder, and she could still go through with her naturalization.
All right, let's go to Sandra in Greenbelt, Maryland. Sandra.
Yeah, hi, Brett.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. I have a question. I have a sister that got married to a diplomat, and they were under A2 visa.
Yep.
And for some reason, he moved out of the house, and after a while, he went back to his country. And now my sister has gone out of status, and She wants to divorce him, but he doesn't want to divorce. So I don't know if it's possible for her to divorce, without contacting him while she is here in the U.S.
Well, it is possible to divorce while she's here in the United States, even though she's out of status. She certainly has enough residence here in the United States and time in the U.S. that whatever state she's in would be able to do a divorce for her. I don't believe there's a state in the union. All 50 states require him to be notified by service of process, so you would have to serve him with papers in whatever country he's in now. He would probably default on that unless he's going to come back to the United States and fight the divorce, but certainly she can do a divorce in the United States. What state is she in right now?
She's in Maryland.
She's in Maryland. Yeah, certainly you can find a divorce attorney in Maryland to serve him in whatever. What country is the man in?
Nigeria.
Okay, so yeah, you serve him papers in Nigeria. We serve people papers all over the world.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you so much, Brad.
You're very welcome. All right. So meanwhile, I don't know if Groundhog Sam took the day off today. But I've yet to see him mention he has one job. He, they,
however he wants to go.
Yeah.
He did say there's no share game. That means I've got the day off.
He said that.
He said those words.
No, Sam.
He's a cheeky little one.
He's a cheeky little one. All right? Right. Just because he can't sit on his butt because he has my face on it does not mean that he can't give us an update on the amount of shares.
I mean,
Sam, what's going on here? Sam?
I see it.
What?
No share game means no keeping score, Brad. That's what he said. He's doubling down.
Yeah, I don't like that, Sam. Yeah, thank you.
I got numbers though.
Okay,
if you really want numbers, I can take over Groundhog Sam's job.
Okay, please.
Bradshaw Live, back to kicking ass and taking names. 121 to 37 for Bradshaw Live.
I may not even want to dance on Monday for Spar and Bernstein. What the hell happened to them?
Excuse me, they have earned their dance,
they
Brad.
They
the
did.
only reason we're waiting is that so Yo-Yo gets to see your smooth moves.
Yes.
So you're not gonna get talked out of this one, but yeah, family.
Yo-Yo gets to see my smooth moves.
That's what he wants. He was like, I cannot miss the dancing.
He'll watch me dance, but he's not gonna see any smooth moves.
Oh, Brad, I think you're underselling yourself.
I don't have any smooth moves.
Like you showed us the sprinkler here days ago.
Spar and Bernstein, at least share. Get your shares up to at least 100 today.
Yeah.
I mean, don't embarrass yourself, Spar and Bernstein. Right? I mean, the Spar Bernstein page is embarrassing themselves right now with only 36 shares. Lisa Bling Rose took the vacation with Sam today, I think.
She said, we need numbers. I'm doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
All right, we'll see. So what's the numbers right now? Sam, I think he left and went to the bar.
123 to 38.
133 to...
23. 123.
123. It's
almost 100 more.
That's terrible.
That's terrible.
That is terrible. All right, so we have one more call. Lisa in Hartford, Connecticut. Lisa, how are you?
Hello, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
I have a boyfriend, but he was a registered sex offender 10 years ago. I was wondering, does it feel okay for him to file for my green card or not?
It is okay. I'm looking at Nicole. It's certainly okay. You're going to need an Adam Walsh waiver. And the problem with Adam Walsh waivers is this. The law says in an Adam Walsh waiver that you have to be able to prove beyond a doubt, okay, that he does not pose a danger to you.
Okay.
That is scientifically impossible to prove. There is not a psychologist in the world who can say beyond a doubt this man who was a sexual predator 10 years ago has absolutely zero percent chance that he will do anything to you in the house. It's impossible. It's almost impossible to say that about anybody. I've never been a sexual predator in my life. I've never been arrested in my life. And I don't even think a psychologist would say it is 100% certain that Brad Bernstein will be a normal guy for the rest of his life. Maybe I go off the reservation one day. You never know. I don't think I will, right? So it's impossible. The way they wrote the law is impossible to prove. We actually, have a few of those cases, and we are actually in the process of actually going to sue the government because it's an impossible statute to get the waiver. They don't approve them.
And
that's the problem.
And that's ultimately what many of these cases, you have to wind up doing. I mean, you have to go through the whole process of the person filing for you, doing appeals, and then going to federal court because it's really hard to get it at one of the earlier stages.
I agree. I agree. All right. So what I would suggest you do is you're in Hartford, Connecticut. We have an office on 1 Congress Street. You know where 1 Congress Street is in Hartford, Connecticut?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have an office right there. You can come right down the street and see us and talk to us about it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Hold on. All right. Yep. We are in Hartford, Connecticut, Nicole. Maybe one day we'll go to your home state, New Jersey.
The long, treacherous
trip along the PATH train around the river. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. A lot of people from New Jersey don't want to make the trip into New York City. It's an 8-minute PATH ride train, right? From Jersey City, right? All right. So now here's the time. I saw Dawn Harriet yelling share, share, share. Was it Dawn Harriet or Lisa Bling Rose?
Lisa Bling Rose has been yelling it for quite a while.
Yeah, and Lisa Bling Rose is saying that Sam's upset because we win. Ha ha ha. You may very well be right, Lisa Bling Rose.
Yeah.
All right. So right now we're going to be going to what we call, Nicole. We have names for everything. Social media check-in, where we're going to be answering your questions that you left on the feed. Belgium Kim's going to ask the question. We're going to give you the answers. You ready? In rapid succession.
In rapid fire.
No, we don't use fire anymore. We don't like any
that's
gun.
Right. We don't like fire.
We don't like rapid fire. Rapid succession.
Rapid
succession.
Okay. Kathleen Knights wants to know: my nephew was born in Canada, but lives in Grenada since he was a baby. I'd like to take him to the U.S. now to live with me. What should I do to get him here?
Grandson in Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
How old is the grandson?
The nephew.
How old is the nephew?
Is in Grenada. We don't know how old he is.
And where's the parents of this nephew?
Also something we don't know.
Okay, assuming the parents are out of the picture, either they passed away or they've abandoned the child or you've been raising this child in another household, you would have to do what's called an orphan petition. And you would have to do 2 things simultaneously. If the parents are deceased, then it's much easier down in Grenada, but if the parents are alive, you would have to strip them of their parental rights through whatever child service agency would represent the child in Grenada. We would help you set that up with you. At the same time, whatever state you're here in the United States, you have to do what's called a pre-adoption. Get approval from a judge in the state in which you live in, saying that when this child comes to America, you are good to adopt this child. Once you have the pre-adoption and the parents are stripped of their parental rights, you are going to file an I-601 application with the Immigration Service and bring that child up with a green card to do the adoption here in America. But you're not done yet, because you haven't really adopted the child yet. Once you adopt the child, then the child becomes an automatic U.S. citizen. If you were to go down to Grenada and adopt the child in Grenada, you would never get this child here unless you prove that you lived in the same household with that child for 2 years, which is unlikely. Or if you go down to Grenada and you adopt the child and get permission from the parents to adopt the child, that child is not an orphan. Concur or disagree, Nicole?
Beautifully done, Brad.
Thank you very much.
Strong concurrence.
Strong answer there, right? Very strong answer there.
You need Nicole around more often. Because we're always like, yeah, sure, that sounds
right. That's because like, you're brilliant, Brad, but I have no idea what you're saying. So now Nicole is here to concur that what I'm saying is correct.
Like, it always sounds very fancy.
Yes. Well, it is correct. It is correct, Belgium King. It is correct.
Lial wants to know, good morning. I was recently traveling to a different state and got caught by immigration. I spent one night in a holding cell, and then they sent me back to New York to get a court date from a field officer. I also got a tracking device on my foot. I'm married, but I filed for divorce in December of last year, and we have a son together. The reason I filed for divorce is that my husband was incredibly abusive. He went to jail for drugs. He wouldn't sign my immigration papers, and he was constantly threatening to kill me as well. Should I get a lawyer to go in with me with the field officer, or should I wait for the court date?
Liel, absolutely. It's always a good idea to bring an attorney with you. This way, when you do go to court, there is already some background there as to what happened with ICE, and perhaps the attorney can also have a discussion if there are any questions asked about what you're planning to do for the case. And we're very sorry to hear what you went through. That's really terrible, but it sounds like a case where we could really step in and help, and we strongly advise you to come in and meet with us.
If you're an abused spouse, whether you were caught by immigration or not, you're going to get a green card here in the United States.
And by the way, she threw in there that she initiated a divorce or is already divorced. For abuse cases, they can be filed up to 2 years from when the divorce was terminated.
Well, finished,
Finished,
correct.
yes.
Right, so basically, once you're divorced, the statute of limitations is running. That's basically how it works. It's to your advantage not to get divorced if you're an abused spouse until you're done. Because then the statute of limitations never runs unless you hate this person so much that your blood boils and hairs on your back stand up just thinking about it.
But the good news for her is she still has time right now.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
Nicola says, if you came here on an H-2B visa and you're now out of status, how long would it take if your son or daughter would be filing for you?
If they're a U.S. citizen and over 21, you're going to adjust your status and you'll have a green card in under a year.
Karen said, good evening. If someone has a visa from 4 years ago and now their 20-year-old wants to renew and they took it away, what could be the reason that they took it away, and can they reapply? This happened in Jamaica.
There's a lot of reasons why they took a visa away. I'll give one and you can give one, and it's probably 100.
Okay, they stayed too long, and so it was canceled.
Committed a crime. Go again.
They found out that there was fraud perpetrated in getting the visa in the first place.
They found out he was working in America. They think that he's not going to return home. Well, there's 100 reasons. He had a medical condition that, 100 reasons why.
Abduli says, if you're going to a court proceeding for asylum and your wife is an American citizen who filed the I-130, do I still need to go for the interview before they approve my I-130? And if so, how long is it going to take for me before they call me for an interview?
So the I-130 is solely within the jurisdiction of USCIS. That means that only USCIS can make a determination on the I-130. And yes, you will have to go to an interview. And when a person is in court proceedings while this is all happening, typically the couple has to be prepared for a more extensive interview called a Stokes interview if they're here in New York.
Correct. I concur.
You concur.
I concur.
Dorette said, "Hey guys, how long does the process take for a green card holder to file for kids over 21 years old?"
About 7 years if they're unmarried.
Yvonne said, "Should a non-immigrant who is working off the books be paying taxes?"
It doesn't hurt.
Chiaki says, what if I'm under a J1 visa, which will end in December of this year? Would you be able to help me apply for a permanent residence through employment or a K1 visa?
So you can't do a K1 visa if you're physically within the U.S.
Yeah, you would just file an adjustment at that point.
But yes, and yes.
The answer is yes, we can help, but we need to know more.
Yeah.
Right.
Gunny Hind.
Gunny Hind.
Gunny Hind.
Yes.
That's just a good name. Gunny says,
Gunny.
Gunny has a friend.
Uh-huh.
Gunny's
They always have a friend.
They so many
Nobody
friends.
has a problem themselves. It's always somebody's friend.
I gotta be honest, I wish I had as many friends as the Brad Squad.
Brad Squad has a lot of friends.
I have no friends compared to them. Gunny said,
and they know so much about their friends' problems.
oh my God, deep, intimate details. Gunny said,
we're not calling you out, Gunny. We're sorry. I'm sure it is your friend.
Regardless, Gunny's friend says that had a 2-year green card, didn't know he was supposed to file for the 10-year green card, and the date has now expired. What can he do?
Nicole?
Sure. Well, depending on how long it's been since the time is up, you're going to need perhaps a better excuse.
A good yeah. I think you got to file a late, as long as you weren't put in deportation, you got to file a late application to remove the conditions with a good excuse. If you got a good excuse, they'll accept it. If they don't, then they'll put you in deportation. You got to do it before a judge. If you're already before a judge, then you got to do it before the judge.
Right. Either way, you're going to have to remove the conditions, but
you have 2 bites at the apple. You already missed the first bite, so you're going to ask them, can I take a first bite even though I missed the first bite and have a good excuse? If not, then you're back to your second bite before a judge. And hopefully you'll prove it was a real marriage and you're eligible for your green card somehow. Why don't we do this, Kim? Let's ask, I'm curious if Groundhog Sam has any updates on the sharing.
On the sharing.
Is he back with us, or he's still not paying attention?
I have seen him. Pop in and out.
He has popped in and out.
I have seen him pop in and out. I sure have.
And
Brad, it's not. I mean, it's looking kind of closer, I guess, but not much. 128 to 42. You guys.
That's what Groundhog Sam said when he first came out of the ground. Same exact thing here. What I'm looking at now, 128 to 42. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
I'm telling you right now, there is nothing to win here, but Bradshaw is going to lose right now, and they're going to be extraordinarily embarrassed.
No, Spar Bernstein's.
Spar Bernstein's going to lose, and they're going to be extraordinarily embarrassed.
Yes, they are.
So please, everybody, share with your friends and family. We're asking you because the best way that we can help you and your friends and your cousins and everybody else you know is to share this with your friends and family. And the best way to share, Belgium Kim is going to tell you the best way to share because she knows more than anybody else.
I did start off as the social media queen.
She did start off as social media queen. She's been upgraded.
Yeah.
Right. You're no longer social media queen. You're just Belgium because you're not doing the social media anymore.
You know, the other day they were changing the credits because we have new people, and they were changing the credits, and they're like,
so what are you now?
Kim, you're no longer the social media queen. I think I'm officially an associate producer now.
Associate producer, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, the way you share, folks, this is so easy. There's 2 possibilities. There is either an arrow to the right, somewhere on your screen, usually at the bottom. It says share next to it, or the words share appear. Click on it, write a cute little message about how much you love this show, and this is the favorite show of the whole wide world, the best show in the world, and share it with all your friends and family. Don't be selfish, share the show.
That was very good. I actually learned something there.
I got fired up there,
Don't be selfish.
Don't be selfish.
All right, let's do 2 or 3 more, and then we'll come back to social media at the end of the show.
Okay, we've got Karen, who said, having a bit of a problem. She said that her son's dad, who was her first husband, was a U.S. citizen, and unfortunately, he died. Now, Karen's son is 14 years old. He was born in Jamaica. And she is now remarried, and her husband is in the process of filing for her and her son. Her son is living in the U.S., and she's wondering, could her son not have to be filed for by the new husband and instead somehow gain citizenship through his dad, her late husband?
Did the late husband have a green card, a citizenship? What do you have?
He was a citizen.
Was he a citizen when the child was born?
He was.
Then that child might possibly be a U.S. citizen already.
Even though the child was born in Jamaica?
Even though the child was born in Jamaica, as long as the father was a U.S. citizen when the child was born and can prove that he was living in the United States for at least 5 years prior to the child's birth over the age of 14.
Avion said, how long does it take for a 2-year green card holder to file for a parent?
Forever. You can't file as a 2-year green card holder. You can only file as a U.S. citizen. Forever. Forever. Until you're a citizen. Then it's 1 year. So as soon as you become a citizen, you can file for your parents. Okay. All right. So, Nicole, we had the pleasure of talking to one of your clients. Nicole, as I said, is a fabulous immigration attorney.
Thank
and
you.
we had the pleasure of talking to one of your clients. You recently resolved a particularly complicated case in which the client was successful in getting her green card despite having some serious strikes against him. And he had called in and he spoke to us. What were some of the strikes quickly that were against him?
Okay. We're talking about Winston?
I guess, yes.
Okay. So, he had filed a fraudulent asylum claim. It was unbeknownst to him, he went to some notario, and he actually found out that's what he did when we did a FOIA and reviewed it.
All right, so wait, I don't want to tell you the whole story because you're going to tell the story again right now. I just wanted you to give a little, a little introduction. I didn't think the whole thing. All right, so we got a little introduction. He filed a false asylum claim and found out about it years and years later. Let's watch how Nicole helped him resolve his problems. That a little later. That was me with all of that was the GIF video when they wanted me to make all the different faces.
I mean, you do make good faces. You know what I say about your
face. They were like, just go make faces. And they had me sit here in the desk for 10 minutes making faces. The last face I did, I don't want to tell you. The second to last face I did this. The last face I just I just pointed one of my fingers and I don't have to, and then I said goodbye. All right, so let's see. Do we have, while they figure out what happened to Winston, the client, we have some other things to, you know what? Cynthia in Greenbelt, Maryland is waiting on the phone for a while. Let's speak to her first. All right. It's never a show, unless Sam screws up somewhere back there, right? Chewing on the wires.
He woke up.
And
got hungry.
He got hungry.
I get it.
I guess. All right. Let's go to Cynthia in Greenbelt, Maryland. Cynthia.
Hi. Good evening. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. What's going on?
All right. So I have a question. I have a friend that has been here in the U.S. On a green card, but it was the original green card. They came back in '85, never filed for citizenship, but would like to now, and never got that expired version of the green
old
card.
Green card without an expiration date.
Yes, exactly. What is they've traveled back and forth to Jamaica recently, and they were held in immigration, and they, kind of questioned them for a couple of hours, and then just said, "Listen, you need to file."
Yeah, because that green card's expired.
Okay.
That's the problem. Even though it has no expiration date, it's expired.
Okay. They currently owe taxes, and so he's afraid that
how much does he owe?
If they didn't tell me, I don't know, but there's some amount that they owe, and they're afraid that if they go ahead and file for citizenship, it's going to be denied. What do you suggest?
I suggest that this is why we have tax attorneys who work at Spar and Bernstein and immigration attorneys, and you come in and you meet with both an immigration attorney and our tax attorney, Carmela, and she has, as far as taxes are concerned, she has a fabulous record of straightening out taxes, reducing taxes. And we've filed citizenship and had Carmela work on taxes simultaneously. And everybody with these issues, we've resolved them both tax-wise and citizenship-wise. So we'll figure it out for him.
Okay, so you're suggesting to come and see you, but ultimately what needs to be done is he needs to file.
He needs to file his citizenship and start the process of working out his taxes. And it'll either be worked out in one of two ways. Either there'll be a payment plan, but more likely, if he can't afford to pay his taxes, it will be reduced substantially. And while we're in the process of reducing those taxes, the collections for his taxes are on hold, and then therefore it won't affect his citizenship.
Another twist to it, he was married for 10 years, legitimate marriage, fine, but is now separated and is in the process of divorcing.
That's fine.
But that's fine, right? He's not planning on using the marriage status, but just the fact that they were a permanent resident since.
He's been a permanent resident for 20 years, and he doesn't, whether he's married or not, has no bearing on the citizenship.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So we can help him with everything. So hold on and talk to somebody off the air. We have Anthony in Long Island. Anthony.
Yes. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm fine.
What's going on?
At the moment, my brother got incarcerated yesterday. And I was trying to find out why does he get incarcerated if he went through asylum in
I don't know why he's incarcerated.
Yes, he got incarcerated yesterday.
Okay, but you're asking me why is he incarcerated? I don't know why he's incarcerated.
He got asylum. He won the asylum to go back to that country, But now he's still going through the same process, and they're saying that he's waiting for documents to get deported.
Well, then he didn't. Well, then he didn't win the asylum.
Yes, he won the asylum in 2009.
Well,
that's why I was trying
look, there are two different things. You can win asylum, and then you can wind up getting in trouble with the law, and then your case can be reopened, and you can be placed in deportation, and then.
Or maybe they found out that the asylum was bogus and reopened it. Or maybe he believes he won it and he didn't, which is more likely.
That's also true. So he needs an attorney, and he might need more than just an immigration attorney. He might need a criminal defense attorney.
We don't know. But we got them all here, so hold on one second. But the answer is, you're asking me, why is your brother being held by... Maybe 1 in a million is immigration's wrong, and they're violating his rights. It's also possible. I doubt it.
That is actually what's happening because I went through the same process.
Well, if that's what's happening, then we'll get him out immediately, and they're going to have a big lawsuit. But we have to figure it out first. All right? So hold on one second. Let's go to Rich in Long Island. Rich.
Yeah, good afternoon, Brad.
How are you?
Good. I got a quick question for you. Well, actually 2 questions. I got married and whatever, my wife filed my paperwork. I got my green card and I did my citizenship. I got sworn in and everything, but she also filed for my son. He's here 2 years and 6 months. How long is it before he could do his citizenship?
It's not her son.
No.
And you're not a citizen.
Son. Yes, I am a citizen. I became a citizen recently.
Your son lives with you?
Yes.
And he has a green card?
Yes.
How old is he now?
22.
All right, so he was a citizen after you were 18. He has to wait another 2.5 years. He has to be a green card holder for 5 years.
Okay. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Jilly Bean, are we all ready with all our stuff? We think so. All right, what are we ready with, Jilly Bean? Everything I want. Jilly says, whatever I want. Whatever I want, whatever makes you happy. That's what she said. She said, Brad, honey, whatever makes you happy, we will do for you.
Does Jilly call you Brad, honey?
No, I'm making that up.
I just want to defend her honor.
No, I'm making that up. She's very professional. She's never called me honey ever in my entire life. But I would love her to one day say, Brad, honey, whatever you want, my dear. I just don't see her saying that, though.
Jilly Bean saying something like that.
And maybe Paul, her husband, will come in and get mad at me, so maybe she's better off not.
Yeah, I mean, Jill is the hardest worker I've ever met in my life, but she is no pushover. I don't think she's going to say whatever you want.
No. She's going to say, Brad, you're going to do... Basically, Jilly, who's our producer.
Yeah.
In a very sweet way, she basically says, Brad, we're doing it this way.
I love you, you're wrong, this is what I do.
Right, you're overruled.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to Nicole. So Nicole had a client, filed for asylum. It was denied. He didn't know about it. He was ordered deported, right?
No, he also had a criminal issue.
He had a criminal issue.
Cashing
some bad checks. All right, he had a denial on asylum that gave him an immigration issue, cashing bad checks. Guy needed a green card, and he was an absolute mess. Let's see how Nicole helped him. So today we're going to be talking about a particularly difficult case we had here at Spar and Bernstein. It turned out very successful for our client after years and years of hardship trying to get through with a green card. I have with me today Nicole Hemrick. She's one of our incredible immigration attorneys, and she's a fabulous attorney. And she was the one who worked on his case. We're going to call him a different name. He doesn't want to be known by his real name, so we're going to be calling him Winston, although Winston is not his real name. But for this purpose, his name is Winston. So Nicole, tell us about Winston's case. Tell us about the facts and why it was particularly a difficult situation for Winston and his whole immigration situation.
Okay. Yes. So Winston has been here for many years, almost 30 years. When he came, he did come on a visa, but then he encountered several problems that set him back substantially. First, in order to try to legalize his status, he went to somebody who he had been recommended to, who supposedly helped other people. The person promised to help him to normalize his status, and it turned out that he actually filed a fake asylum claim for him.
Right, so this was probably back in the 90s, when I started out as an attorney, political asylum, it was taking 7, 8, 9 years to get a work permit. And there was a lot of attorneys, a lot of notarios, people who said they were paralegals, and even licensed attorneys who were telling immigrants, I'll get you a work permit. They didn't know any better. And then they would file a political asylum claim. They didn't even know that what they filed, but they did know they got a work permit. And they got it for 7 years or 8 years before anybody even looked at their case. And then eventually when they would see that there was some sort of fraudulent asylum claim, and it would end up giving them big problems. Some people would even get deported from it. There's attorneys from the 90s who went to jail for doing this. Not me, obviously, or not Nicole, but we are aware of those situations. And people like Winston, you know, or many people came here, they're like, I'm just happy I got a work permit. They don't really ask a lot of questions about why or how I'm entitled to a work permit, or maybe they do, and people were lying. There was a lot of people lying about filing asylum claims and saying, yes, I'll get you the work permit, even though, and they thought that they were filing for amnesty and all sorts of things.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened with Winston. It turns out this person was not an attorney, presented Winston as being from a different country than he actually is, and so having an entirely different identity, and therefore claim that had nothing to do with who he actually was or anything in his facts.
Now Winston was from Jamaica, but this asylum claim, he didn't even realize. I know people who signed, I'm not saying Winston did this, I don't know, we're going to find out about Winston's case, but I know people who signed blank forms, and then a paralegal or an unscrupulous attorney or somebody who claims they're an attorney when they're not, would fill in stuff that's just absolutely not even true.
Right. So Winston did not know what he was signing, and when he learned years later, when he came to us and we did a FOIA request, he was actually shocked, very upset about what had happened, and we had to figure out how to remedy the situation. And beyond that, Winston got into some trouble because one of his friends asked if he could do him a favor, and this was years after the asylum situation, and just cash his girlfriend's check for him. And it turned out that the check was fraudulent.
Not a good check.
Not a good check.
Right.
He wound up being charged and convicted for it. He tried to wear a wire and help the police catch this other person, but he believes the person was tipped off when it came down to that. So he wound up taking the fall. He actually pleaded guilty. And from that time, he has been a law-abiding person, definitely showed rehabilitation and contrition.
So Winston came, and like I'm going to tell you, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of immigrants in the 90s filed a political asylum claim that was not a legitimate claim. He may or may not have known what he was doing, but certainly he didn't realize the ramifications of all of this. He just assumed he's getting a work permit, and then years later was a pawn in what ultimately was a much bigger scheme, and unfortunately he got the rap for it. Now, he was living in the United States for 27 years when he finally met Nicole. Is that correct?
Right.
And what did you do for him?
So he has a U.S. citizen wife. He has 3 U.S. citizen children. His eldest child is actually autistic. His wife has significant health problems, diabetes, psychological problems for which she's consistently attending a psychotherapist and taking medication. And we filed 2 waivers.
And just so you know, for everybody out there, the armchair attorneys out there, okay, you file fake political asylum claims, and you have, what amounts to, as far as immigration is concerned, although Winston was a pawn, a very serious criminal offense. Cashing a $33,000 check is an aggravated felony. And this is what he comes to Nicole with. I'm here 27 years. I have a fraud, and I've got an aggravated felony. And then you needed waivers.
Then we needed waivers. We submitted 2 waivers, and we ultimately attended the interview together, and the officer had a lot of questions about the hardship. And he actually asked me about this issue with the conviction. And while it looked like an aggravated felony, and it was a felony in the criminal context, I explained that because he was not sentenced to a year, it should not be counted as a felony. And they agreed with me.
They agreed with your argument.
And he now is a green card holder.
That's wonderful. And by the way, we have Winston by phone here. So this is a true story. Is that correct, Winston?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
And welcome to Bradshaw Live. And we have Nicole, who is your fantastic attorney who took you through this entire process. I got a question for you, Winston.
Yes.
When you met Nicole, did you ever think you were going to get a green card?
I had doubts. Believe me, because of my situation, and just like she explained it perfectly, I really had doubts. If I was going to get through because of all the chaos that went on around the case. But it's a proven fact. I got my green card.
And now you were here for 27 years. You obviously ran into some trouble along the way. Tell me how getting a green card has changed your life. What was life like before the green card, and what's life like now with a green card?
Well, I feel like I get my life back now. I can do anything. I can go anywhere I want to go without having to be looking over my shoulder and wondering if this is going to happen, or I could walk into any place right now, and apply for a job without thinking, are they going to ask for this? Do I have a Social Security card? Do I, you know what I mean? So life is great now, man. Believe me, it is.
And now you were here for 27 years. And you rightfully or wrongly, you had a fraud on an asylum case that was filed. Obviously, you have excuses on why that happened, and there was this criminal situation, and there was actually extenuating circumstances about what that happened. But the facts are, you were guilty of both. Both could have either one could have got you back in your home country, deported, never to be with your family again. How is living in the United States with that uncertainty?
Listen, it's like every day this thing goes through my mind. When the uncertainty. When I didn't have a green card. Every day I get up, and I wonder, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if I ever had gotten deported? My family could not survive. They just could not, because my wife is very sickly,
right?
And as you know, I have an autistic son,
right?
And believe me, they could not have done it alone.
And that's why your waiver was approved, because you were able to present this evidence to your very good attorney Nicole, who was then able to present this evidence, to the immigration, and they agreed with everything you just said. Your wife and family can't live without you, which is why you got your waivers. So what do you have to say to Nicole? What do you have to say to people out there? Would you recommend Nicole?
Oh, 10 times over. I just have to point out one thing to dear Brad.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this.
Okay.
While we were, just like Nicole said, she went with me for the interview, and while we were in the doing the interview, the officer, he asked a legal question.
Right.
Why is it when Nicole told him that I didn't get
an aggravated felony?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he referred to an article, something pertaining to the law.
Right.
Nicole just spit it out right there and told him, and he had to refer to a book.
Right.
To find it. So he said to me, "Oh, you have a good lawyer there. I can't get around this one."
Well, it's true.
That was the exact word.
And it's true.
It is true.
It's true. And it is true. But also, it's a very good point that you make. The immigration officers are not attorneys. Okay. So they didn't. Most of them, maybe some did go to law school, but it's not a requirement to go to law school to be an immigration officer and interview you.
Oh, okay.
They are not attorneys. Okay, they do not know the law as well as a good attorney.
Okay, and that's why you see a lot of times immigration making mistakes, and that's why you have good attorneys to point it out to them why they would be making a mistake, and they would have in your particular case. Winston, we are so happy that we were able to make your dreams come true, your family's dreams come true. This is what we call the American dream. Let me ask you a question, because we asked this of everybody. What is your American dream, and are you living it now?
Well, my American dream just came true by having my green card. Because can you imagine living in a country, not having that for over 27 years? You don't know what is going to happen the next day, So believe me, having that card makes me feel like a free man, like I get my life back. Well,
it's amazing. Amazing.
So having that card, man, let me feel so good.
It's amazing. Winston, congratulations to you and your
Thank
family.
You guys
All right, make us very proud of you, Winston. Stop by when you're in Manhattan. And Nicole, fabulous job, great job. And she does a great job not only for Winston but for all of her clients. Excellent.
Oh yes.
And Winston, thank you for coming on, and Nicole, thank you for sharing as well.
Thank you so much, and congratulations,
Thank you very
Winston.
much, Nicole.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
And I do have to remind everybody that obviously prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome. But Nicole, fabulous job. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Okay, Winston.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye
Take
bye.
care now.
Bye.
Okay,
All right, so we got Mike in Hartford, Connecticut. Mike.
Hey, what's up, Brad?
How are you?
I'm great. You?
Good. What's going on?
I got my permanent green card through my American citizen.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was, in the relationship, there was, before, like a couple months before I got my 10-year green card, there was a little ups and downs between me and the wifey. And I got it in a relationship with someone else in which that person got pregnant. And, I got my green card,
You got your green card through wifey, but you got someone else pregnant, is what you're saying?
Yes, and
Okay.
I got my green card a month before
the child
was born.
Okay.
Yes. Would immigration look into that, stating that the relationship was
yeah, absolutely.
wasn't real?
Absolutely. Now, there was no misrepresentation because the child wasn't born when you got your green card. If the child was born and you didn't alert them of the fact that you had a child, then that would be a misrepresentation. But the child wasn't born yet. But certainly when you do your citizenship, they have the right to go back and look at the marriage and say, is this bona fide? I just saw a client about 9 months ago who applied for citizenship. Immigration looked into her marriage and determined that the marriage was bogus, and then looked to take her green card away and put her in deportation. So it does happen, right, Nicole? Have you seen that before?
Right. And
It doesn't happen a lot, but I've seen it.
It's certainly possible. And on the naturalization application, you are going to have to list all of your children, so they're now going to know about
this child, correct.
Okay.
All right.
But
So what I would suggest you do is before you make a move, make a move to us and have a private consultation with us. Hold on. Let's go to Verna in Miami, Florida. Verna.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I am good. I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, my son has a green card, but he got himself into a little trouble in South Carolina where he used a knife on a lady. And he's been in the jail from last year, February, until now, but he has a lawyer. But what I want to know is everything said and done, and he get a bail or he get out, can they send him home?
Using a knife on a lady? I don't know what using a knife on a lady means. He stabbed somebody?
He cut her.
He cut her. He stabbed her. That's a crime of violence.
Yes.
And he's in jail
he
for
cut
over...
her in the hand.
It's a crime of
cut her
violence.
in the hand.
Cut her on the hand, you cut her on the toe, it doesn't matter. It's a crime of violence.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know,
it could very well
know.
be an aggravated felony. Very well may be.
Right.
Does he have a green card?
So, yes, he have a green card.
Yeah, if it's an aggravated felony, he's getting deported. And it sounds like that to me, not knowing more.
So what if he's
If he's an aggravated felon,
he has never been in any trouble before.
Okay, but if you commit an aggravated felony, you're arguing with the wrong person, by the way. I'm on your side. Okay, we'll assume your son's a good guy. Okay, let's assume that. Okay, let's assume he's a great guy and he had a bad night.
Yes.
If you stab somebody and it's a crime of violence and you spend more than 1 year in jail, or you're sentenced to more than 1 year in jail, even though you don't do a year in jail, it is an aggravated felony. That is ta-ta.
Right. Even if it's just one time, one aggravated felony is enough.
That's it. Now, you may say that's not fair, and a lot of people say it's not fair. We had a gentleman on yesterday who served two tours of duty in the military and was an aggravated felon and got walked across the border into Mexico. I don't think that's fair. So yeah, a lot of times it's not fair, but I'm just, I'm not the law. I'm just the messenger of the law. I'm a lawyer who tells you what the law is.
I know.
Right.
I'm just,
without knowing more, it sounds like an aggravated felony. And if he is an aggravated felon, he's going to get deported.
But he has a lawyer anyway for that. I mean, he hasn't been to court yet. He hasn't been to court yet.
Why is he in jail for 1 year and hasn't been to court yet? That's not a very good lawyer.
He hasn't been to court yet, and he has a lawyer.
All right, Verna, if he's been in jail for 1 year and hasn't been to court yet, he doesn't have a good lawyer. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Would you agree with that?
Yes, unless she's confusing the criminal defense attorney versus the
immigration attorney. That I don't know. I assumed when she was telling me this that he was still in a criminal jail and it hasn't been the decision yet. But how do you sit in jail for a year and never show up to a court date?
I suspect he already has a conviction, but the immigration proceedings haven't commenced.
So any event, we don't know. But I think she needs a consultation, definitely.
Yes.
So, Nicole, Belgium Kim, the other day I talked with a woman by the name of Mary Green.
Yes.
She is now the entertainment editor for People Magazine. You ever hear of People Magazine?
Oh my God, what a dream job.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And she gets and she gets to meet all these famous people. I mean, being the entertainment editor, you go around the world and go on all the shoots and all the red carpets and meet all the famous people and take pictures with them and hang out with them and live the life. Now, she has a crazy story because even though she's now this most successful woman who is hobnobbing with what is in essence, the A-listers of the world in this dream job, she was left on a stairwell as a 6 hours left on a stairwell in South Korea by a mom she never met, a dad she never met, and discovered in some sort of wrapping on a stairwell. She almost died.
Right.
She almost died, and had she not immigrated to America through the adoption of a nice family, she even said she would have ended up, because what happens with the orphan children in Korea, they end up being prostitutes. She said, I could have been a prostitute. Right. But for the grace of God, but for immigrating to America, and now look what a successful person she is. Let's watch.
Wow.
So this is a true American dream story. We're going to be talking with Mary Green. She was adopted as an infant from Seoul, Korea in 1969 by parents in Mason City, Iowa. Mary is now the entertainment editor of People Magazine and was recently featured in the magazine in a piece titled Coming to America Saved My Life, a People editor's immigration story. Mary took time out of her very busy schedule to join us today to discuss her personal immigration journey. Welcome, Mary. How are you? And thank you for coming on our show. I really appreciate your time.
Hi, thank you very much. It's great.
So you had quite an American dream story. I mean, your life, by just happenstance, could have changed completely different. You may not even be alive today, let alone living a completely different life. And here you are, a successful woman here in the United States of America. Tell us the story, Mary. Let's get right into this. Tell us the story. How did you come to America? What happened?
Sure, absolutely. Well, in 1969, in October, to be specific, my parents adoptive parents had already been approved and were going through the process to adopt a Korean infant, which back in 1969 was still very progressive.
And these are white Caucasian Americans in Iowa.
Absolutely. I was found shortly, a couple of days after birth. It was actually in the doorway of an abandoned building. And someone heard me. I was apparently blessed with incredibly strong lungs.
Thank God.
And, absolutely. They called the police and they took me to the hospital where I remained for a few months. I was very tiny and very sick.
So apparently you were birthed at home or in an apartment, but certainly not in a hospital, and you were left and abandoned, and you don't even know how long you were abandoned in that hallway, but thank God you were found, and then you ended up being hospitalized for months. Is that correct?
Absolutely. In fact, by the time my parents adopted me in October, I was 9 months old. I only weighed 12 pounds. So, I mean,
did
you consider the average.
Did your parents know they were getting a sick Korean baby? What was going through their mind in terms of picking you? Do you know?
I asked them that several times, and really the only thing they said to me was, we always knew we had more love to give. And rather than having more biological kids, the 4 oldest are biological, they had biologically, they decided to adopt. And they heard about the need for children to be adopted from South Korea. And, so they decided to embark on that. They didn't really specify whether the child should be healthy or not. I just ended up coming down with a severe staph infection, and the orphanages and with being overrun, they didn't have the medical care to give to me. So I was actually rushed in the final weeks to the United States so that I could get proper medical care.
Thank God for your parents. Listening to not only, being discovered in a hallway and then being sick with a staph infection and not having treatment options in South Korea, being rushed to the United States with weeks. I mean, you were on edge your first probably year and a half of whether you would even make it and be alive. And, I wonder how that makes you feel as you live your life now, knowing that you were given, by God or by your parents or whatever you may believe in, this second and third lease on life.
I've always grown up very thankful, very grateful for having all the opportunity I've had. And granted, I came to the United States when I was only 9 months old, so I didn't really know any differently, but I was always acutely aware of how fortunate I was. And I don't know why, but I've just always had this feeling then that things would be okay. Oh, yes, that's me the day I became a citizen.
So how was it growing up in Iowa? I guess you were not only being the only Asian child in the family, you may have been the only Asian child on the block or in the whole town, for all I know, in 1969. How did that make you feel knowing you looked different?
There were times when it was challenging, in the 70s, growing up in a relatively small town in Iowa. There were certainly incidents of racism, and it can be challenging. You just don't see people who look like you, so you don't necessarily have the same kinds of role models. But having said that, I will say that the choices my parents made with their friends and certainly with my family, mm-hmm. I was very fortunate in having people who cared, around me. And then I remember when I was growing up, among my friend group, they stopped seeing you as Korean or as being any different because I was just Mary. So right. I think that also is a great lesson for people. They gradually, they do see you for you. And so I was always very, very fortunate. I also grew up being acclimated completely to Caucasian culture. So I was very comfortable. And to this day, I'm very comfortable in traditional,
Probably more,
white-
probably more so than Korean culture, I would assume.
Yeah, I think the first time, in fact, really, it was on assignment for People Magazine, was the first time I really got to explore parts of the Korean American culture.
How'd you get to People Magazine?
A few years after I graduated from college, I actually decided to move to Chicago, and while I was there, I started calling around to media outlets. People Magazine actually let me come in off the street, and I started to read through newspapers, suggest stories, and when I was in there, I said, I will do anything you need. And at the time, serendipitously, they needed some assistant help. And
so doing anything means starting on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. I cleaned offices. I made Christmas cards.
Right. I mean, right. That's the bottom. You start at entry level.
Absolutely. And basically, I just stayed, and gradually they sent me out on an assignment and everything. And I got hired on full staff, moved to New York, and since then have just worked my way up and had this amazingly fortunate career.
What exactly do you do there for People Magazine now? You've worked your way up through years and years of work. Tell us exactly what does a project, entertainment project editor do?
Sure. Basically, if during award season, let's say we're going to put together a portfolio of the Oscar nominees, that would fall under my purview. So we do a lot of special programs and things where we will go to the Toronto Film Festival, and we'll have a studio there for video and photography, etc. We'll have like hundreds of celebrities come in, and that would fall under my purview.
So you get to meet a lot of cool people, right? I'm probably the least cool person you're speaking to all week. So what's like the coolest people you've met in the last couple of weeks?
In the last couple of weeks? One would be Oprah.
Oh, I mean, that's right up there, right?
And then some of the TV stars like Mandy Moore just had the upfronts, where the TV networks announced their new shows for the fall.
That's really cool. You have a very cool job. You get to meet all these cool people. So now let me ask you this question, because People Magazine is all about celebrities and famous people. How did your story end up in People Magazine?
Well, actually, the day that the travel ban was first initiated or first signed into executive order, I wrote a post on my Facebook page just telling my story, which I had never done before. I was offended by the travel ban. If we're going to start to come together, we need to see each other as people and not just as a religion or a region of the world. People started to read it, and one of the editors asked me, said, "Wow, I just saw this. Will you write a personal piece for us?" And I said, "Sure." So I wrote it up, and they posted.
Wow. And what kind of notoriety have you got from it, other than being on Bradshaw Live? Has other people, have you been on other news programs? Have people reached out to you and said, "Wow, what an amazing story"? Tell us what the feedback's been.
Sure. It's been really, actually, it's been the personal feedback that's been so great. Other immigrants have reached out and wanted to talk and wanted to connect, and that's been the greatest part.
Have you ever wondered what life would be had you not made it to America? Had you maybe not been found? I mean, obviously, if had you survived and just stayed in South Korea, you ever wonder what life would be like?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially every year on my birthday, but all the time when I was growing up, because had I been fortunate enough to survive, chances are I would not have been educated. There were many, many girls at that time where as soon as you're old enough to leave the orphanage, you are living on the streets. And so there's a good chance I either would have been homeless or become a prostitute.
Wow.
Because it's just
That's what happens to orphans there.
Yeah. And there were so many children in needs of homes and families that it's not as though there wasn't a system set up to help all these kids. And at the time, all these kids couldn't enroll in school. So there'd be a very good chance that I wouldn't have received any education.
Have you ever tried to, because a lot of adopted children, when they grow up, try to go back and find their birth mother or biological father. Have you ever thought about that, or have you ever tried?
I have, because I would like to go back and see if I can find any family members.
Right. Thank you. Mary Green, is there anywhere, can anyone still, I guess, go on People Magazine somewhere and read your article?
It is available. If you Google People Magazine Coming to America or Mary Green, the story should come up.
That's wonderful. Thank you again. I really appreciate it. All the best. Say hello from me to all the famous people that you meet. They'll be like, huh? Who is that guy? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Okay. All right, let's go to Peter in Fort Myers, Florida. Peter.
Hello, good afternoon, Wed.
How you doing?
Good. My question is, I was married with my wife. Now I get divorced, but my wife, when I was married with her, I was traveling back and forth to Haiti, and then I did meet another girl in 2015 when I was still married with her. But in 2017, I get divorced. Now I'm filing for a fiancé visa for the girl I met in 2016.
She's a citizen. You're a citizen.
Yes, I am a citizen.
When
yes.
did you get your green card originally?
Where?
When?
That was in 2011.
Okay, fine. No problem.
Yes.
So what's the problem?
Yeah. Yes. And then my question is, because now I'm filing for a fiancé visa for my new girlfriend. So can I use the date I was traveling in Haiti and my passport to show proof we met in person, even though I was still married with my other wife?
Have you met her since?
Say that again?
When was the last time you met her?
Yeah, I met her in 2015.
But you haven't seen her in 3 years?
No, I saw her. I saw her after that. But
when was the last time you saw her?
The last time I saw her was because we had a baby together. That was May 2000. May of this year.
Congratulations.
So isn't having a baby together proof that you met? Unless you can do it over the phone now, and I don't know how that's done. But I would love to find out. But having the baby is proof you met.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right. Hold on if you need help. All right. Let's go to Andre in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Wow.
Wow. Andre.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good evening here. Good morning for you.
Oh, that's right. Good evening.
Yes.
My apologies.
No problem.
Hi, Brett. How are you doing? Kim and Nicole.
Hi.
Brett, I have a quick question. My priority date is September 5th, 2006.
Your brother's filing for you or your sister?
My sister, Brett. And it was approved in 26 February 2010. I got the I-797. Brett, honestly, I've got a lawyer already right now, but I'm not very happy. I'd like to switch with you, to you. I've already made up my mind now. Okay, and in fact, I called in last night, my time, this morning, your time, to try to basically to set up an appointment with yourself. But then again, for some reason, I got hung up. Now, my question is, if I want to retain you, Brett, does my sister have to come see you?
No, we can do everything by phone. I mean, she wants to come see me. I'm happy to see her, but we can do everything by phone.
Well, she lives in New York.
If she lives in New York, then it's easy that she comes in and sees me. And then when she comes in, we'll call you in Indonesia, and we'll talk your sister here in the office with me, and you in Indonesia.
Okay. Now, I think it's better that we do consultation first between myself and yourself, or Nicole, or one immigration lawyer if possible. So, do you need that? Because I guess you need to know my case or something like that.
I don't need to speak to her for a consultation. Hold on, we'll work it out. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. So, Belgium Kim, do we have any last-second social media questions that we can rifle off quickly?
We do. I wanna squeeze a few more in here. Karen had a follow-up question about her son getting his citizenship through her late husband, and we thought he might already be a citizen. So he actually already got his green card through the new husband, and he's eligible for his citizenship now. What Karen is wondering and what his mom is wondering is, how does he now go about getting this citizenship?
Prove that his biological father was a citizen prior to his birth and lived in the United States 5 years prior to his birth.
Gunny said, my friend was in a car accident and the driver helped her out of the street and left without giving her his information. She has no police report. She refused the ambulance ride and she's currently in the hospital with both legs that have torn ligaments. Wow, that is a close-up of, that's a lot of Kim. Okay. She can't walk. What can she do? Does she have any kind of case?
Absolutely.
Even though she doesn't know who the driver is?
Does this happen in New York?
I believe
If it happened in New York and we don't know who the driver is, we could either hopefully figure it out, or if not, there's something called MVAC, which is Motor Vehicle Accident Indemnification Corporation, that covers you for insurance if you have a hit and run.
And GA said, can you explain what a case inquiry date means for the processing time chart?
If you ask an inquiry what's going on with my case, when they'll respond to you.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's right up there with, can I use my passport to prove I met my spouse in 2015? We're expecting a child in 2018. It's right up there with that one.
It's about the same thing?
Yes.
Mark said, I've got a friend who got asylum and was recently picked up. Now, this was the question that was asked, and I'm really curious about this. He said that he won asylum, but that he was then picked up by immigration.
This is the one we asked about before.
Yeah, and I saw it written again, and I'm really confused by it. How can you win asylum and then get deported?
Well, maybe you went back to your country. There's like a lot of ways. Okay. You applied for asylum and you said, you know what, I'm terrified to return to Egypt.
And then you go back to Egypt.
And then you go back to Egypt.
Even after you've been granted asylum.
Correct.
Right.
So then you really weren't scared to go back, were you?
Right.
Because you're like, oh, I have a green card now. I can go visit my family I haven't seen in 10 years.
Or what I was saying is, if you haven't yet become a U.S. citizen, anybody that is only an asylee or a green card holder, if they commit certain crimes, can be placed back in removal proceedings. So maybe this person did win asylum, didn't become a U.S. citizen, committed a crime, and was then deported because of the crime.
So all of those.
Gotcha. Okay. That
All
was
right,
perturbing.
so I mean, we have to figure it out. There's a lot of reasons why that could possibly happen. Or maybe you think you got asylum and didn't, which is also a big one. By the way, Jeff Posey just realized that for the first time after watching you for about 9 months that you have a nose ring.
It is, do you know that my own family had no idea? I had it for years. My sister-in-law went with me to get it done.
And never realized you had it?
And my brother, who was married to her, had no idea. He came to visit me a couple weeks ago. I've had it for years. He was like, you have a nose ring?
Well, at least you know your sister-in-law can keep a good secret.
I guess. Or my brother doesn't listen.
Well, that's why I always wear a collared shirt. You'll never see me without a non-collared shirt. I don't want to show it what's right there.
You have a tattoo?
Do you have a piercing? Yeah, neck piercing. Or a tattoo. That probably makes more. Do you have a tattoo? What does? I'm kidding. It says "Mom" with a big heart around it.
Yes, I love my mommy. All right, everybody. All right, Cole, comment of the day.
How could you?
Yes.
Because Malia had a good one.
Wait. Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please.
It comes from Malia Loban Martin. She's been on fire this week, and she said, Kim, please tell Brad that I'd like to teach him 2 Jamaican dances for him to dance on Monday. One is named the Bruck Bruck, and the other the Puppy Tail. You are dancing, and I have YouTubed in preparation for this comment.
So we know you will know what these dances are for Monday.
Yeah, I mean they are. I'm
do I need a woman to do any of these? Because I've seen how Jamaicans, you
don't need a woman.
They dance with, they do a lot of
fervor,
fervor and butt out, chest
this way?
It's an incredible amount of twerking, Brad.
Yes.
They are both.
They are big. Is it a big twerking dance?
It is basically a very intense
twerking dance.
It's a very intense. Both of them.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to see your lawyer twerking. I don't know if that's the.
As your employee, as your co-host. I would love nothing more than to see you twerk,
oh
Brad.
Oh my God! I gotta start stretching tonight.
And I think I can speak for Yo-Yo pretty safely when I say he too wants to see you twerk. Nicole, you want to weigh in? Do you want to see Brad
married.
twerk?
She does not want to see me twerk. Trust me.
I was gonna say that sounds like it could be dangerous.
You're like, what happened to Brad? Why is he in the hospital? Just over twerking. He threw his back out.
Over twerking.
Over twerking.
A twerk-related incident.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you back Monday, 5:30. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?